I will welcome everyone to
Hi.
the first New Visions in-person meeting in 3 years. So the story goes, March of 2020, I was elected as president, and I had all these ideas of what was going to happen. I was going to do a community cookout, and we were going to keep on doing our in-person meetings. And then the pandemic hit, and we didn't know what that was going to mean, but it meant we've been virtual all the way up till today. And we're still partially virtual. But today is the start of us doing hybrid. So basically what's going to look like is every second Monday, we're going to meet here at the market. But we're also going to have it on Zoom for anyone that can't join. And also I record the meeting so that you can watch it again or watch it for the first time. But for those that New Vision started in 1994. So a group of neighbors, including Ms. Chamberlain, Ms. Thompson, realized that the neighborhood that they had known for decades was starting to face a lot of challenges, including on their block, maybe 85% blight on the block. What could it look like to get the community back to a place of thriving? And so New Visions has started this place of desiring to see thriving for the entire community, for all neighbors. The tagline has always been neighbors helping neighbors. And so since 1994, we've been striving to live into that. And for those that have been around the neighborhood for a while, you know the neighborhood is constantly changing. For those that haven't been around for a while, you've seen it changing even in the last couple of months, couple of years. And so this is why something like New Visions exists, because if we're not coming together, paying attention to what's happening in the community, talking about what's happening, talking about the needs, sharing things that you might see that I might not see, I might see that you might not see. If we're not doing that, then a lot can happen that goes unnoticed. A lot can happen that can be hard to repair or replace. I have no idea what's going to happen with this screen.
Still hear us?
Can y'all still hear me on there?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to continue to welcome y'all back and your neighbors back, because the power of something like New Visions isn't in a few people doing stuff. It's in a community coming together. And so we really need all of you and all of you and anybody that isn't at the table yet that could come to the table. So today we've got two things on the docket, and then if there's space at the end, we'll open it up to anything else. We've got Lieutenant McRae, who's our sector lieutenant with Richmond Police Department. We've got Madeline, I've forgotten your last name, Petrie, with Project Homes, which if you don't know about Project Homes, get excited because there's a lot to know about Project Homes. It's amazing. I realized I didn't introduce myself fully, but I did note that I was president starting 3 years ago. I've lived in the community since 2008. My first New Visions meeting was 2009, I believe, and in my first one, Ms. Thompson put me right on a committee. It was great. So I've loved New Visions from the start, and my primary role in the community is I've been doing ministry for the last I've been doing ministry in the community as long as I've been here, but full-time ministry the last 4.5 years. And part of my way of trying to come alongside and serve the community is through New Visions. Wife, 3 kids, a cat. I live on the corner of 20th and R Street. So if you're ever driving by and you see me on the porch, you can give a wave. So that's a quick hit of me. If you want to know more, you can pull me aside later. But I want to pass the figurative mic over to Lieutenant McRae. So if you want to just introduce yourself and share a little bit of what's going on in your realm.
Absolutely. Well, just to begin, I am Lieutenant McRae. I work out at the 1st Precinct, not too far from here. I'm the Second Lieutenant for 113, which covers pretty much the general area now, Fairmont all the way to Mechanicsville. Pretty much the general area. It's a large area I cover. I came over to 1st Precinct back in November of 2021. I've been in contact with Paul since then. Unfortunately, I was unable to make any virtual meetings due to scheduling. It always fell on my weeknights. So I was getting up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, so it was almost impossible for me to, jump on a live or jump, come to the meeting at 9 o'clock in the morning. So when I got the email with the new date and time and, going forward here on the evening shift, this was, I was very excited. I was looking at it, I was like, wow, I can actually tell them. I'm actually off today, but this is the very first meeting. I was like, that doesn't matter. I was like, this is my sector, you all are meeting. I said, I will come in, for this very first meeting to actually finally meet everyone. And hopefully, going forward, I can attend Now, with that being said, we do have some change at the precinct, so if you don't get me, I can at least guarantee a representative from RPD that can come and provide some information to you if needed as well. Little something about my background. I'm actually from Richmond, Virginia, born and raised. Grew up in Churchill. I actually grew up on Sherman Ross Boulevard. Went to Armstrong High School and graduated from there. So a resident, long-time resident of Richmond. Decided to stay here and work and moved up the ranks, and I'm still here. And I'm overseeing in the area within First Precinct that I grew up. So I'm really excited about it. I really take pride in being out in the community and anything I can do to help. I'm not going to bore you all with numbers. I know sometimes we come to these meetings and we have a lot of numbers and stats to go over. I could go on and on, but sometimes we kind of get away from what we really want you to talk about by giving out those numbers. But to keep it short, I will say, just for year to date, when you look at violent crime for the general area of Fairmount, you have 90% reduction in violent crime and 57% in property crime. So I can leave those general numbers for you without going too far in depth, because it can get complicated once you start messing around with overall breakdown of crimes. The chief, as you all know, acting chief Rick Edwards, right now for RPD, he's been holding command staff walks throughout the entire city of Richmond. The next one is actually this Wednesday in this area. It's going to be in the area of 21st and T Street. We're going to meet up there at 5:00 p.m. if anyone's available, or if you see us out and about, feel free to join. But we're going to have a community walk. So you'll see myself out there, chief, command staff. We also have different agencies such as RBHA, Real Life. There's many other partners we work with. So it's going to be a large group of people out. We're going to be walking a couple of streets. So feel free to join us if you're out and about. I'm not sure which streets you all live on, but we'll be walking pretty much 22nd, 23rd, and 24th Street between Fairmont and X Street. So, yeah. That's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I decided, and the reason why I picked that location, like I said, I have a large area to include. Of course, I have like the RHA communities as well, to include Mosby, Wickham, Fairfield, Creighton. And as you know, we do a lot of outreach out there. We're always visible, trying to cut back on a lot of violent crime, but we can't forget about the other areas in between as well. So it came up to decide what location you want to pick. I personally chose that specific area, to target the problems we're having in the area, such as drug usage.
Can he speak up a little bit, please?
Sorry about that. But yes, like I mentioned, we're going to hold our meeting, command staff walk. We're going to be in the area of T Street and 22nd, 23rd, and 24th Street this Wednesday at 5:00. And we're going to be out just going door to door, talking to residents in the area, taking down any complaints you may have or any concerns, or just simply saying hi, just having a general conversation. But we're going to be in the area, walking around, just to be seen and letting everyone know we're there for you.
Thank you for sharing that. If you wouldn't mind sending that information to me as well, I can send it out in an email to everyone. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
I hear some rumblings that the first precinct is being relocated.
Yeah, it's in the works right now. Nothing set in stone, but it is in the works to get a new first precinct. Once we get more information on that, we'll definitely pass that. But right now, they're getting the planning stages together for it, and it's going to happen.
So it's being moved to another location, or that facility is being revamped?
It's going to be to a different location.
Different location.
Yeah, new location. So once everything's set in stone, we finalize the location. It takes some time,
Right.
But we can say for sure that it's been in the budget. We're going to get a new first precinct.
So that means we will be the south. This.
Well,
Protection.
I
We
can-
will be the south.
Not at all. I can assure you that it won't make a difference for the responsible officers at all. It's just a new location for the precinct. The officers still going to be in the general area, the same officers you see now, myself as well. So don't feel like if us moving, it will jeopardize your safety. Not at all.
Hmm.
Any other questions?
There's a commercial vehicle there parked on our street. There's a commercial vehicle that parks on R Street, the letter R. It's a cab with the long,
Semi
Yeah.
truck.
and it rotates with which corner it's gonna sit on. And, the either in the area, you never see it, it's like. They call it a report. And then have to go back to police. And do that.
Yeah, well, there is a violation, and I have to pass it on. We have an environmental officer that works First Precinct, and any issues or parking complaints, we pass it on to them, and they will actually come out and look at it. So there is something on there pertaining to commercial vehicles and semi-parking on public roadways.
That problem.
I'll take note of it. You said it's at 20th and R.
It's R Street is normally 23rd and R. Yeah, it's the cat is sitting there.
So we'll take a look at it. I'll pass this on.
Actually, to build on what you're asking. So I called last week about a car. It's actually in Churchill, so I don't think it's you guys' area. Actually, you are.
So it's, or that's the same code.
Okay. So I'm just curious, do you guys have guys looking for this sort of thing? Because this car literally sat there for a month with the front knocked completely off of it.
Yeah, so a lot of times, if our guys don't see it, I mean, they won't nothing, they won't know about it,
Right.
they won't get addressed. But if you see something like that, call us, let us know.
I do.
Yeah, and we'll,
I
you know,
agree with
we-
you.
well, yeah, anytime if you see anything like that, because we can't see everything, we
Right.
can't be everywhere, there's a lot of things going on, officers, writing reports for violations. But if you got a complaint, feel free to call us, we'll get to it as soon as we can. And we'll address it.
So what is the plan of action? Because I do walk like R Street, 25th, all of that, so that's the 22nd, and as I'm walking, I worry for young children that are walking that way along R Street, and there's like that little lot there where people come near and stuff. But then it's also, when you walk down the street a little bit further past the barber shop, there's still a lot of unscrupulous behavior that's happening there. So what's the plan of action, especially if you guys move out of that location that's so close to that area? I can only imagine what's going to happen.
It's just out in the open.
It is, and they don't care, obviously. So Venable
That's,
Street's another space as well.
So, and so there's actually a different group that meets, I believe it's on Thursday. Can't give you the exact date, but we have city council. So they actually put together walks and they're going out groups that kind of leads that as well. So we see it. There is a plan in place working with city council to address it. We're doing the best we can on it. It's not just RPD. We're getting other resources in there as well, other agencies to help us out. And it even starts with some of the businesses in the area as well. We've been getting complaints, so trust me, there's a plan in action. Like I said, working. I'm sure you've seen, Sam Patterson, and we're all out there twice a week, walking the area, giving out flyers to everyone, and offering resources to those who need it. So it's not something we're just putting on the background, like we're not worrying about it. We're doing everything we can. We see it's a problem. It's been an ongoing problem for years, so we're definitely getting out there trying to do everything we can. Slow it down and eventually put a stop to it all.
And one of the things with the Councilwoman Newell, the thing that she's been doing with the 25th Street Safety Partnership is there was a big survey that was done to try to figure out what are some of the reasons that people might congregate, what are the things that people are looking for. And there are a myriad of groups that are attached to this, like Real Life has been very involved. And the idea is taking this kind of broad situation and pulling back and saying, what are some of the nuanced pieces of it? So what elements are involved with some of the housing issues we have in the community? What elements are involved with mental health issues or with addiction or with simply a desire to have a place to congregate, right? And how can each of those things be addressed? And so the hard part is that for something like that holistically to come together, it takes a lot of collaboration, which is why that partnership was created. But as anybody who's tried to bring people together to collaborate knows, that's a hard thing to do. So, I'll keep you all up to date because I'm keeping in touch with that. And I've gone to many of those meetings. Haven't been able to go to some of the recent ones, but I'll keep passing on.
Can you provide a link to that or something on the website? Yeah, by the way, you do a great job of keeping that updated. I learned quite a bit on there.
On the website?
Yeah, or like your emails.
Okay, yeah. And Sonny, shout out to Sonny. Sonny is our communications officer, that's not the word I want. I guess opposite. Anyways, he does the communications. He would be here, but he lived in the community, still owns property in the community, but currently lives in Paris. So right now it's like near 1 a.m. But a big shout out to him because a lot of the stuff that we're seeing is because of his hard work. Well, Lieutenant McRae, I know it's your day off, but I want to thank you for coming out and appreciate the work that y'all do.
And I'll pick up my cards as well. Make sure I grab the feelings about
Yeah.
just to pass around. So if you ever have, any issues, just want to check, you can email me or call me. I do work, like I said, we changed our schedule, so I'm actually on permanent nights now. Before it was, work days, pretty much Monday through Friday, 1 week of nights, and now I'm on permanent night shift.
Yeah.
So do call for something, feel free to leave a voicemail and I'll try to get back to you before it gets too late when I come in.
Right now, and I want to give an apology to our Zoom folks because I came in knowing that this first meeting, the commuter microphone might not be great. Thank you so much. So that will be different in future meetings. Also, we are intermittently not seeing y'all because our HDMI cable or my computer, one of the two, are not great. But thank you for persevering. Somebody just joined that I'm gonna look at it in a second, but I admitted from afar, but I can't read the name. But so hopefully you're meant to be here. But we're gonna transition now because I want to make sure I leave space for Project Homes because there's so much that Project Homes is doing, and I won't name any of it because that's why Madeline's here. But I can guarantee there's going to be something what she shares that's going to be meaningful to you, if not all of it. So.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I actually live in Churchill, so I'm excited to be here at 196th Street. But yeah, Project Homes has done a lot in this area over the last 30 years, particularly the last 23 years. We've been really involved in home repair and also new construction in the Churchill, North Churchill area. But we do a lot of other things too. So this presentation is kind of like a general overview of everything we do, but I'll try to highlight stuff that's more specific to this area as well. And there's a lot of information, so feel free to just ask me questions in the middle if anything comes up, because I don't want you to attack your question. But basically we're a nonprofit affordable housing organization that's centered in Richmond, but this is our whole service area. So we serve a large part of the state, 21 counties and 10 cities across Virginia out to the Eastern Shore and as far west as Buckingham County. But pretty much all of our programs serve Richmond, Henrico, Chesterfield, and the Tri-Cities. And then some of our other ones go farther out, but this is Richmond is our core. Our mission is improving lives by improving homes. And so nice and short and simple. But our vision is to create sustainable and healthy homes and environments for people. This is kind of the 3 core areas of the organization. So we like to call mission support our kind of administrative center, but that has evolved a lot to include DEI work, community engagement, and a lot of other kind of mission-driven initiatives. And then our 2 core programs are affordable housing and energy conservation. So I'll go deeper into each of those, but just to give you kind of a structure. So affordable housing includes home repair, affordable housing development, a volunteer program, which is smaller scale home repair and wheelchair ramps and a few other things. And then something that we're really passionate about and putting a lot of our energy into now is housing innovation. So exploring new housing types, but also new ways that are kind of unrecognized sources of affordable housing that we can kind of make more available to the communities we're working in. So just to give you a general sense, pretty much the only qualification we have for our services is income. Like we have no age restrictions or anything like that. So almost all of our programs, we serve people who make 80% or less of the area median income, which is these numbers. There's a few exceptions, but for the most part, this is what it is. So for our home repair program, this is one of our oldest programs at Project Homes, and this is a federally funded critical home repair program where we do pretty substantial repairs to owner occupants' homes. And then we also have a lead hazard control program, which is meant to eliminate the risks of lead paint in the Richmond region. For that program, you have to qualify by having a child who lives in the home. And then we just recently started a program called Healthy Homes, which basically is funded by the federal government and addresses all health risks that you could find. So the types of repairs that we usually address can be as wide as electrical repairs, heating repairs, plumbing, roof, bathroom, really anything that's addressing like the safety of the home is our primary concern. And so if you're a homeowner and you meet our income qualifications, then you can qualify for our services. It's kind of hard with the home repair program to visually represent some of the work that's being done, since a lot of it's like electrical or plumbing, but we like to show before and after photos of just some of the work that we're able to do. And some of these projects range up to like $30,000. So it's pretty significant in the impact that it can have on someone. And they're also their ability to stay in their home. That's like one of our biggest drivers is allowing people to age in place and also maintain generational wealth that's built into their home, and have that be able to be passed on to different generations. And then another thing that we love is, I'll get to this later in the presentation, but we build new houses for sale. And so one of the things that we want to be able to do, or that we do is, if there's a new home on that block and someone moves in, we also want to be able to help with home repairs to the person who lives across the street and like has been there for a lot of years. So there's like a community dynamic of like trying to provide all of our services and kind of in like an integrated way. And then our lead hazard control program is, like I mentioned, really focused on lead-based paint, which can cause a lot of brain damage in young children if they're exposed to it. So this is statewide and goes along with like a lot of additional repairs that we can do with the funding. And if there's lead in the home and a child who even just visits the home, like they could have a grandparent that lives there and they go there twice a month, then the house can qualify for lead remediation. So this, interestingly, has been a hard program to get clients for. We've been doing a lot of outreach, and one of our primary areas is Chesterfield, and there just aren't a lot of homes that have lead-based paint in Chesterfield. We've had a lot in Northside, Richmond, but this is one of the programs most of our programs have long waiting lists, and this one has been a challenge. So if anyone knows if anyone has lead-based, we are looking for clients. So with our housing development work, the core of that has been single family home construction. We try our best to match our homes that we build to the character of the neighborhood so that they fit in with the historic representation in that area. So in Church Hill, we'll try to build like a typical Church Hill house. And all of our homes are sold as well to people earning 80% or less of the area median income. And so I think since 2000, we've built around like 60 homes in Churchill alone, like almost 300 across the Richmond area. And we've now grown into Petersburg, Chesterfield, and Henrico as well with our single family home construction. And then we partner with other organizations like Home Inc., who offers down payment assistance and home buyer education so that it makes the whole process easier and assists with the down payment on the home as well. And then multifamily construction is another kind of newer thing for us, which I'll get into, but we do have some affordable rental apartment developments for seniors across the as well. So we build about 25 houses every year. This is, I think, 27th Street. And this is also the inside of a Churchill house. And that's a combination of completely new construction where we'll get an empty lot and build a new house on the lot. We also do a lot of gut rehab of historic homes. So we'll purchase a blighted home that's been vacant and then completely gut it and renovate it, but try to maintain as much of the original character as possible. A big project that we recently completed is in Maymont and Randolph, where we did 40 houses that were originally taken from the construction of I-95. They were moved to that neighborhood and then used as scattered site public housing through the Richmond Redevelopment and Housing Authority. And then that program kind of failed and they were left vacant for 10 years. So we ended up with 40 of them and just renovated them and sold them to new buyers. So that has made a big impact in that neighborhood, just kind of bringing new life and removing some of the blight that was there. And so similarly in Churchill, we've kind of gone a similar route with trying to blight reduction at first was kind of one of our primary goals. Now that's not as much of a challenge with the growth of this neighborhood, but now our main goal is maintaining affordability as the growth of this neighborhood has happened. And yeah, I'll get to the 19th Street houses too. But this is just some examples of some interesting projects we've done that go along with our single family construction program. But this is Richmond's first 3D printed house, and it was just finished last summer. This is right across the street from our office in the south side. But it was really cool. This printer was actually delivered from Denmark, I believe. And our funder, Virginia Housing, is really passionate about innovation as well. So they work with us to try out new housing types. So this is concrete printed. Basically, it's like the printer has a program that knows exactly where to lay each strip of concrete. And then this is the final result in a home buyer. So if you're ever in the south side, cool to check out. And then a few years ago, we also completed with the same funder a shipping container house. So this house is built out of 3 separate shipping containers that looked like that when they were brought in. They were carried by a crane onto the lot and assembled. This is a 3-bedroom house in Swansboro. And we're just really excited about kind of being seen as an innovator and being given these types of opportunities to create new housing, affordable housing types. And so our newest initiative is manufactured housing, which is what you think of as a mobile home. So I'll get into that more as well. And then I know there were some questions about our houses we're currently building on 19th Street. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update on those. I believe there are going to be 6 of them on North 19th Street. And so this is kind of just an elevation. They're not finished yet. So I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what they're going to look like. There are narrow lot homes, what we call them, because they fit. We have a few of them already in Churchill. They fit on a narrow lot. we designed them because there were a lot of vacant lots in Richmond that were too narrow for most people to build on. And so we saw that as an opportunity to create more affordable housing using those lots that might not otherwise have been built on. So most of these houses that this design are 12 feet wide. But they still manage to have plenty of storage, and they're 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. So this is the exterior, and then this is the design for the interior of the homes. The first floor is living room, half bath, staircase, kitchen, dining, covered porch in the backyard. And then the upstairs is bedroom on either side, each with its own bathroom. And then just update on that, they're about 50% complete right now. Like all of our other houses, 80% of the area median income to qualify. And then something I didn't mention earlier is we work a lot with the Maggie Walker Community Land Trust. So most of our houses, or as many as we can, we try to sell through the Community Land Trust because then that retains the affordability of the land. So I don't know if people know about the land trust, but okay. So we love to partner with them as much as we can to just keep the affordability. And I was told to offer you guys a tour of these houses when they're ready, if anyone's interested. This is an example of another apartment development that we bought this building about 6 months ago. This is on Bainbridge Street near Manchester. And we are developing it over the next year or two into affordable senior apartments. So this is a mock-up of what the design will look like. But it'll be about 90 apartments for seniors, low income. So we're really excited about this. We're trying to maintain some of the original building, but then build around it. So you can see in this design, this is the original carriage house. So we're going to create a community center out of this carriage house and make like a meeting room, and then the rooms will kind of be built, the apartments will be built around. And then we also have a volunteer program, which was started in like 1998, about 6 years after we were founded in 1992. With the goal of being able to fill the gaps that the federal programs weren't able to address. So there are a lot of restrictions with the federal programs, and so we wanted to be able to meet the needs of the clients to the fullest. So we created this program, which is 100% run off donations and private funding and volunteer labor. So we're able to do, it's completely free what we're able to do with the money. And we get, we calculate the volunteer labor based on a rate of like $30 an hour, and have about 1,000 volunteers each year. So it's like hundreds of thousands of dollars in donated labor, which allows us to make a deeper impact. And this was, the core of this program is our wheelchair ramp program, which we build in our warehouse, the modules for wheelchair ramps, and then we go out into the field to the client's home and assemble it in at their home, and it allows the process to go really quick. So it's a really fun volunteer activity because you don't really have to be a skilled carpenter. You can go there that day and it takes like 3 hours. But in addition to wheelchair ramps, we also do like porch and railing repairs, step repairs, yard cleaning, grab bar installations. A lot of this program is focused on accessibility, and we serve a lot of seniors through this program, and disabled individuals. So a lot of the goal of this program is to address home independence, freedom, and accessibility needs. These are some of the numbers. We do about 150 ramps a year and over 500 minor home repairs through this program specifically, and then have over 1,000. And then along with that, another program that was created due to like the heightened need was our immediate response program. A lot of our home repair waiting lists are pretty long. The city of Richmond is by far the longest. And so this is also a privately funded program that allows us to address like true emergency home repair needs as quick as possible. So this a lot of times has included like roofs collapsing, gas leaks, like severe plumbing issues, severe like entry issues. For example, like we've had clients who have been released from the hospital but aren't allowed by their social worker maybe to go back into their home unless they had a wheelchair ramp. So we build a wheelchair ramp so that they're able to come back. So this is an example of one house that we did about a year or two ago, where we received an anonymous donation for $10,000, and the donor wanted it all to go to one house. So we were able to use it for this program and basically address all of the different home repair related needs. And she was a Dallas Cowboys fan, so she wanted her house to be painted gray and blue. So we did that for her. And then a smaller program we have is emergency heating and cooling. So in the winter, we have a heating program, in the summer, we have a cooling program. And this is kind of addressing emergency fixes to heating and cooling. It's not necessarily like a permanent solution, but it allows us to quickly give someone an window AC unit or give someone a space heater if they're like on our waiting list for more extensive heating or cooling repairs. At least we can address it. If it's a really cold winter, like we don't want anyone waiting to get their heating repaired. So this allows us to deliver things really quickly, and it's kind of seasonal. And then the other aspect of this program is that it has a really big volunteer engagement component. So we work really closely with corporations or teams or big groups that want to volunteer and kind of provide a team building opportunity for them. And then obviously that helps us serve our clients through those events. Any questions so far?
What is the age of the volunteer opportunity? Like volunteer?
Anything. We do have some school groups volunteer, high school, and then we have a group of permanent volunteers who volunteer multiple times a week sometimes, and they're probably in their 70s and 80s. So it's pretty open to, it is easier for us to have a group rather than like an individual because a lot of our projects require more people. So it's sometimes hard for us to find an opportunity for just one person, but in terms of age, it's pretty open.
It's not a lot of high schools that need volunteer.
Yeah, we do
Like,
high school.
All the seniors need them.
Yeah. If there's like a group of them that want to come out and do a project together, then we definitely have high school.
About 400.
Well, we could probably accommodate.
No, I'm serious. I'm at 2 different schools.
Yeah, I'll give you my card so you can reach out to us. But yeah, we definitely do high school.
We had an online question. If you had any updates on the vacant lots at 23rd and Q Street.
I do not. I could direct you to the right person to ask. But no, I'm not sure. That's on my
That's the perfect spot for building a replica of the same homes you're building on 19th Street.
Yeah.
That would be a good spot to place one of those homes.
What is the address? 23rd.
23rd and Q.
1100,
Okay.
no, 23rd Street.
Okay.
Right behind me. Be a perfect spot.
Well, I can ask. and get
I
back
don't want
you.
to see no apartment, the buildings that they are building now. Apartment just going up 2 and 3-story home. I don't want to see that behind me because when New Vision started, our mission was to revive the community according to the pattern that was already established in the community. And that went along about 10 or 15 years. Project Home has always been good to us until other community developers came in, and then they just started disrespecting what the community wanted. Now, I almost don't even know what my community looked like. We have houses over there 3-story tall. That was not the plan, the vision for the people. And I just think it's just so unfair to the members of the community when you want your community to look a certain way, somebody else come in there and for economic purposes, feeding their pockets. They don't care about what the residents want. So I'm keeping a close watch on the property behind me. And Project Home, I wish you all do something about it.
Well, I will ask.
Marion knows all, is he still with you?
Yeah, he is.
But tell him Miss Thompson said.
I
Get busy. They've been dingling with that property for too many years now. Get busy before somebody else come in and overstep him and put something there that I, don't want to see. The community don't want to see. We want another home that would fall in line with what we already have there. Is that too much to ask? I hope not.
No, it isn't, Ms. Thompson. I agree with you.
I'm gonna put you to get that done now.
So moving over to kind of a newer side of our organization is what we're calling housing innovation. But a really large part of that is manufactured housing. So in 2020, we purchased a park, manufactured home community called Bermuda Estates, which is in Chesterfield County, right off Jeff Davis, or it's on Jeff Davis. And it's a park of 50 homes that had a pretty negative experience with the previous owner. And so there were a lot of people who were really taken advantage of, and a lot of units that were in pretty bad disrepair. And so we had been exploring the idea of getting into manufactured housing for a while because we recognized it as an area of the affordable housing spectrum that wasn't really being touched by organizations like us. And there are actually more people in the country that live in manufactured housing than in public housing. And it's the largest source of affordable housing in the country. The largest source of unsubsidized affordable housing. And so we saw it as a really great opportunity. And there's a lot of assets that already exist in these types of communities. They have a community, a sense of community, and they really support one another. And then it's also a way to have a single family home in a yard at a much more affordable rate than what you would get in a typical stick-built house. So we wanted to take our approach to this community in a little bit of a different way than we usually run our other programs by being more holistic about the way that we improve the community by not just saying we're helping them, but by supporting them through what they need and listening to the community's voices and how we approach that. So our initial approach was we hired a community engagement consultant, and I went with her and knocked on every door, and we talked to every resident in the park to just kind of create a report of what the initial concerns were. And then we were able to address kind of those initial concerns, but then created a more intensive community engagement program to host events, host listening sessions, and then eventually create a program that we call resource coordination, which I'll get more into. But one of the first learnings within that process was that around 80% of the park only spoke Spanish. And so at the time, I was the only person who spoke Spanish, and I am like a high school like level of Spanish. And so we invested in hiring a community engagement manager who is bilingual and from South America, and really bolstered our ability to, and went through trainings and worked with consultants to better understand the community, but also better understand the right approach to community engagement. And so we've learned a lot from the residents and try to tailor the work we do there to what their needs are. And we also do fun stuff like Dia de los Muertos celebrations, and we have a Christmas party, and we've built really great relationships with people in the park. And have also been using our data more to try to better understand them and their needs. But this is an example of what some of the units looked like when we first got there. This is definitely one of the worst ones, but and there are definitely parks in Richmond that are in worse condition than this one was when we found it. But we wanted to take this approach to not only improve the housing, but improve the infrastructure of the community, and then also provide resources outside of housing. So it's kind of like a three-pronged approach. This is another kind of interior. And then, like I was mentioning before, these are kind of, I don't know what happened to the text there, but these are the components of this project are park improvements. So the first thing we did when we purchased the park, based on what the residents' feedback was we repaved the whole road, we created speed bumps, and we created a turnaround at the end of the park, which wasn't there before, so the school bus couldn't enter. And it was a really difficult process of trying to get the school bus change its route to come into the park because the kids were getting on the bus at Jeff Davis before, right on the highway. So finally, like 3 or 4 months ago, the bus came through the park for the first time, and everyone was cheering, and it was like just such a cool thing to see. So now we're working on getting a volunteer project to build a bus stop, which will be cool. And then one of the other primary things we did was address home repair needs in the park. So there were a ton of code violations that were existing in the park, and Chesterfield County is one of our main partners on this, so they're really supportive of us taking our time, the time we needed to address those and not kind of like being harsh right away. So we did what we call the stabilization phase, where we provided free home repairs to anyone in the park who needed them to increase safety and health of the home, but also to address any code violations that existed. And then I mentioned our community engagement. Then we also have park management. So like any apartment complex, we have property management as well. So the community engagement and park management sometimes overlap, but they definitely have unique responsibilities. And then the next area that I want to get into is manufactured housing, which is our new endeavor to create a new replacement unit that we would then bring into the park as a new alternative to the housing that exists there. These are just some pictures of the road improvements and the turnaround at the end. So our first attempt of creating improved housing in the park was bringing in 2 new homes onto vacant lots for not displacing anybody in the park. And so these were 2 units that were purchased from an existing manufacturer. And we wanted to get the highest, we toured like 7 different plants, and we wanted to get the highest quality product that was available. But even with that, we had to do about $40,000 of modifications after it arrived. And we realized that the industry just does not support what we were trying to do. And there's a lot of challenges that we encountered where the main kind of like motivation of the manufactured housing industry is just like production and sales. And there wasn't a lot of wiggle room for them to accommodate what we were looking for in terms of quality. For example, we had to pay extra to not put in carpeting on top of the flooring that was already going to be laid down. And then we site built some of the additional things like the side porch is completely added on, and something that's really important to us is having eaves and gutters, which most manufactured homes don't have. So that significantly increases or decreases the moisture that will get into the home. And then we also included a conditioned crawl space, which usually does not exist in manufactured housing, which allows the energy usage of the home to actually be 40% better than a brand new typical manufactured home that you would buy from a manufacturer. But these houses, then after we bought these two, they weren't available anymore. And the price of something similar went up like $30,000. So we were like, this is not gonna be a route that we can continue exploring. So we decided we wanted to build them ourselves. So we are currently getting certified to become a manufacturer. We're the only people right now in the country that are trying to do it. And it's been a really, really challenging process because we have to write 3 different manuals in order to become certified as a manufacturer.
The Project Homes itself is becoming a manufacturer?
Yeah.
Using volunteer labor or existing companies?
So we are, I kind of did this, I can go through that. We are building a warehouse, which this is the design of the warehouse, which will be right next to our office. And so we will manage the production in-house. We have not gotten to the point of actually producing them yet. So, because the houses will have a manual, you don't have to have qualifications for like being a construction related job. So we are able to use volunteer labor for this project. So that is a route we're thinking about exploring, which is very different than the typical construction process, but allows us to have that option. And basically every single material, every single step of the construction process is laid out in this manual. So anyone will be able to follow. And
Does that bring down the cost of the home?
Yes, definitely. We think that us doing it ourselves will make it more affordable because we get to control. We already have relationships with, providers of different supplies. So, and we're not hiking up the prices for sales. We're doing it for the community. So we think that we'll see a cost savings. But just to give you an estimate, we're thinking that the costs for us are going to be around $100,000 per unit. But for the residents of Bermuda Estates, we're doing a ton of fundraising. So we're providing a deep subsidy to that. So residents in Bermuda Estates are going to be purchasing these homes for $25,000 to $35,000. And I'll go back just to show you, we've been working with the construction department at Virginia Tech to help design our model of what we're trying to build. So this is our mock-up. It's somewhat similar to what you already saw in the park, but we added this sort of cathedral ceiling to add more light to come into the home, since it is a fairly small home. And based on some of the feedback that we got from the community, they're big families that live in this park, so we are doing 3-bedroom models for all of the first set of units, with the side porch. And this is a floor plan. We added this built-in round table because we were designing this during COVID, and we wanted to make sure there was space for kids to do their homework. Also, this is a very Latinx community, and our feedback from them was that the family meal is like one of the most important things about being at home. And so we wanted the kitchen to be open, and we made sure the counter height was at the right level so everyone could be in the space together and see one another. And so and then we have a lot of built-in storage. The windows in the living room are high so that you have more privacy because you're pretty close to the houses next to you. So we took a lot of their input into consideration in this design.
So one of the, we might need to start wrapping up just because this is one of the guinea pig things of the recreation are just like, they might kick us out soon. And so, well, one of the questions I wanted to ask is, I'm hoping people are catching that there's a lot that Project Homes does, from affordable housing all the way down to providing heaters and everything in between. And so definitely whatever, like if you have like another thing, you're like, I gotta say this before we go, I wanna make sure you have that. But I'm sure there are a lot of questions that people will have. So what is the best way if people wanted to learn more about something, if they wanted to ask you more about something, or whoever the right person is, what is the best way for them to do that?
Well, I do have different materials for different areas. So if you have a question about a specific thing, I might have a brochure with me that I can give you. I also have copies of our annual report, which shows stories from a lot of our different programs. You can also go to our website, it's just projecthomes.org, and I have my business card. So if you contact me, I can point you in the right direction or answer your question. I guess I'll just go to one thing really quick.
Do it.
But that's the gist of our manufactured housing work. And then just the other side of our business is energy conservation. This is also housing related, but through weatherization, utility programs, and weatherization deferral repair, which is basically providing repair to homes that wouldn't have qualified for weatherization because there was too much air leakage in the house. We're able to go in first and provide those repairs so that they then qualify for the weatherization program. So the goal of this is to reduce people's energy bills and then make their house more safe to live in. So I just wanted to make sure I touched on that before. But yeah, if anyone has any questions.
We just gave you
Oh, is it for us?
No,
Or just, the store, is the store closing?
They don't close them.
Okay. Well, I wanted to thank you for coming out, and I do encourage people to, like, I encourage you to check out Project Homes. Like I can say specifically for this, our family was blessed by this because our home, when they took the readings, it was the company that came out to do the readings when they do the blower door test, said that was the worst that they had ever seen.
Really?
And so I intentionally went through the Project Homes process for the weatherization so that I could see what it was like and then communicate it out. And one thing I could say about Project Homes is they really care about the work they do. I mean, I hope you got that impression, like they're trying to go for quality. There are so many people building things now that are not caring about quality. And so thank you so much for what y'all are doing. I'll keep y'all updated on as Project Homes projects come through, 19th Street project. But definitely she's brought lots of information. So if you want to learn more. Well, like I said, this is actually, I should probably come to where the people can see me. Thank y'all for persevering. Sunny has joined us. So he's on the little screen here. So all the way from Paris, the longest traveling New Visions participant. And I was joining from my phone, so I get to see what's happening there. Thank you all for being the guinea pigs for our first back women here. Ooh, I'm getting my stuff.
No, that's my Bluetooth. I cut it off.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
What's going on? Obviously, there's a lot of little things we're going to have to figure out, work out. So we're going to work on microphone for those folks and things like that. But I'm really grateful for everybody who took the time to come out on this evening. So encourage your neighbors, because again, the way that this really works well is when more of us neighbors come together. You know how to reach me if you need anything, if you have any questions, any concerns. But yeah, I want to respect the market since they're hosting us. But yeah, thank you all. You're all released, but if you want to talk to Malin before you go, feel free. Thank you so much.
I'll just quickly add too that we do have one program that you do not have to income qualified for, and it's for any homeowner in the city of Richmond. You would get free new toilets, low flow toilets. The city is trying to increase water conservation, so if your toilet is of a certain age, it's probably not low flow, so you can get toilets to replace all your
free toilets if you need them. And I'll send out a lot of information to everyone who's viewing.